Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's EDIAR learning series, which is titled The Power of Positive Mindset. I'm Danielle Lafleur. A lot of you may have already seen me or heard from me. I'm a Labor Relations Advisor here at ACFO, and I'll be acting as your MC for today's event. Before we throw it off to Atif, I want to mention that we will once again be using Slido throughout the event. It's a handy tool where Atif will be able to ask the audience questions, and you in turn will also be able to ask him questions at the end of the session. To access Slido, you can either scan the QR code that's on your screen there, or you can head over to www.slido.com and use the code that's on the screen there, ACFO-ACAF. Now, I'm excited to introduce our speaker, Atif Rashid, who is a CT Fin 3 at Environment and Climate Change Canada, who, when he's not fulfilling his duties as a public servant, doubles as a resiliency coach, an international speaker, and a stand-up comedian. Today, Atif will share how the challenges he's faced in life shaped his journey and helped him develop the powerful mindset he brings to everything he does. Now, over to you, Atif.
Thank you very much, Danielle.
Baba, get up! You're getting late for your speech.
What?
Baba, are you forgetting something?
Oh. Okay. Good.
Oh, I think Baba forgot his leg charger.
Okay, don't you worry, folks. I got my backup charger with me. So don't you worry. I got my leg charge 100%. And it's an honor to be here today in front of you all and talk about a bit more positivity. We can all use a little bit more positivity. And I just wanted to show behind the scene, how I get up and assemble myself every morning and get ready to do my job. And I just wanted to actually read a quick paragraph from this essay. So Helen Keller, who actually lost her hearing and sight when she was a very little child. So she wrote this essay back in 1933. It's titled 3 Days to See, where she talks about what would she do if she had 3 days to see. And it just really gave me chills and what kind of imagination she had, right? Without being able to see and hear anything. I just want to read this for you, and then we can start our presentation. And that's and will give us a good perspective. Now and then I have tested my seeing friends to discover what they see. Recently, I was visited by a very good friend who had just returned from a long walk in the woods. And I asked her what she had discovered or what she has observed. Nothing in particular, she replied. I might have been incredulous had I not been accustomed to such responses. For long ago, I became convinced that the seeing see little. How was it possible? I asked myself, to walk for an hour through the woods and see nothing worthy of note? I who cannot see find hundreds of things to interest me through mere touch. I feel the delicate symmetry of a leaf. I pass my hands lovingly about the smooth skin of a silver birch or the rough, shaggy bark of a pine. In spring, I touch the branches of trees, hopefully in search of a bud. The the first sign of awakening nature after her winter's sleep. So beautiful. It just inspired me to share with you all. And, we all need to, sometimes when we're facing a lot of negativity in our lives, whether it's from our work, from personal lives, whether it's a sickness or relationships, it's often the best to just step back and truly appreciate the little things in life. And that's really the first step of really cultivating positivity, no matter the situation. I just want us to just take a quick a minute to go through this exercise. I hope you all can see this screen. I want you to find 5 things that you can see around you, whether you're in an office, whether you're home, in your basement or bedroom, wherever you are. Find 5 things that you can actually see, and I will give you just 6 seconds. Okay, I bet it was easier to just spot 5 things. 4 things that you can touch around you. There's a pen, paper, notebook, microphone, or mouse. Or 3. Now, next thing is 3 things you can actually hear just in this quietness. There's bells ringing in your ear, the furnace, people chatting, the computer. And 2 things that you can actually smell. Whether it's your perfume, could be your sweat, or this smell of plastic from your computer. And 1 thing that you can actually taste. Right here is my tea. So I hope you could all follow this 5 steps. It's just really the paragraph I read for you in this exercise was to us to come together on this little exercise together, is being more mindful and take and benefit from this 1 hour that we have together. Okay. The power of positive mindset, turning pain into power. This is my life's mission. It's very personal to me, and I'll share with you in a bit. But first, I have a question for you all. And the first question I want to share with you quickly, just want to get your take on, what does positive mindset mean to you? What does it mean to you? So I'll have a slider question for you, and then you can share your thoughts. It being 2 words or sentence, however you want to share. Happiness. Awesome. I'll give you 6 seconds just to type in your responses. Come on, 89 people. Show me. Everyday silly stuff. Get to me. Awesome. Who else? I got 2 anonymous. Resilience. Being a better person. Awesome. Kindness. Resilience. Seeking the good. Glass half full versus half empty. Cup is half full. Calmness. Applying burnt toast theory. Nice. Happy when you get out of bed. Amazing. Peace. Encouraged. Awesome. Motivated. Not sweating the small stuff. Yeah, I love that book. Motivation. Equilibrium. Being happier. Amazing. Hope. Ability to find something good in every experience. That's amazing. Ability to compartmentalize. Yeah. Hopeful. Peace of mind. Happy place. My basement is my happy place. Looking on the bright side of every situation. Choosing to be positive. Amazing. So I love those responses. And that's pretty much what we're going to talk about today. Amazing. You're already on track where you are I mean, keep adding stuff. We're gonna move with the presentation, and first thing I want to talk about is, when I remember when I went through my life's experiences, and that's when first thing I found out, is that being more optimistic, hopeful, and positive actually has a real physical impacts on our health, on our workplace, on our even household, with our kids, families. And what I found is, as humans, we don't live our lives based on facts. We live our lives based on the perception of facts. And that makes it even more important for us to stay positive, stay hopeful. And my goal today is to really leave you with questions, how you can make small changes in your life to bring more hope, more purpose and meaning, to tackle any challenge, really. And so we live our lives based on the perceptions of different facts and reality, because how we perceive things is how we live our lives, right? You can perceive a situation completely from a negative perspective versus a positive perspective. And when you're positive, you see solutions rather. You're not seeing my slides right now, right? Okay, yes, I didn't realize. It's the same slide, so I haven't really moved further. Okay, let me just go back to slide here. Right, okay. Okay, awesome. So yeah, so just what I'm saying is, it's important for us to cultivate positive mindset on a daily basis and recognize our emotions, and especially in times like these. And I was in a meeting a few weeks ago at this town hall meeting, and with people, I summarized the responses from people, like they were afraid about the job security, right? In these conditions, work environment conditions, mental health resilience, uh, that they needed more mental health support. And this change management, lack of communication, and a lack of trust with the management, and also the support for diversity and inclusion. These were all big concerns. And in these situations, we all need to be more positive and hopeful, and see how we can act more positively. And I was about to share a story with you, but a few weeks ago, I met this young kid, 11-year-old kid, when I was traveling to Riyadh, capital of Saudi Arabia. I will share quickly his story. So just 4 hours before my flight home, I was eating at this local mall, and I saw this young 11-year-old kid across a couple of tables, and he was with his family, bunch of kids. And I just felt this urge to go up to him and talk to him. And I was in the borderline. There was people, I'm a stranger, so I don't know how they're going to respond. So I decided I'm not going to go. It's too much, right? And as they were leaving, I saw that he was missing his left leg. And I just thought, I have to talk to this family. I just went up to them, had a brief conversation, not really much about what happened to him, but I just gave him this Inspire One badge, which I give to people where I have this meaningful connection with them. So I gave him this Inspire One badge, and I told him, "You inspire me, little kid." And I gave my card to his uncle, who he was with, is his cousins. So I was leaving for the airport after this meal, and I got a WhatsApp message from his dad. I put it up on a screen, and he told me, how I heard that you met my son, and I want you to come and meet him. He lost his leg to cancer 2 years ago, and it's been really hard for him to cope with it. He's an 11-year-old kid. I mean, his brain is still developing. He doesn't even understand what's happening to him. He can't even explain. So, and I told him, I'm leaving for my flight. I would love to meet him, but can you bring him to this coffee shop? And I would love to inspire him. And Dad said, no problem. I'll bring him in an hour to this coffee shop. So literally, I met him. I spent an hour with this kid. And I told him a story. I said, let me tell you a story. And I told him that super long time ago, I was born in Pakistan. And, I was a young kid with no hearing in my right ear. And I was also like never tell anyone, because people will make fun of me because my hearing loss, not being able to hear. And I was abused as a child in Pakistan, and especially being left-handed in a society like where you're not supposed to do anything with left hand, it was very difficult. Then I told him I moved to Canada in 2006 to pursue my higher education. And I met my good friend David. We had no prior connection whatsoever. And I met him and we instantly became really good friends back in 2006. Unfortunately, in 2010, he was diagnosed with cancer in his right leg. And here's David flashing his cool robotic leg. And that's what I'm telling exactly the kid in front of me, right? And listen to this weird guy telling me the story. Why? And a stranger, complete stranger. What I learned from David is he always smiled when he went through his chemotherapy, his amputation. He was always so positive, and I had no idea that 5 years later, I'll be going to exactly the same experience like David. I still remember bringing him beef jerky and junior chicken burgers while he was going through his chemotherapy. He was craving all these meals. I told David a year before my diagnosis, amputation, that I've been having pain in my right leg. Maybe it's the same thing. He told me, Atif, it's a 1 in a million chance that I will know someone with a similar condition. And I told David, a year later, David, you gave me cancer. It was funny, but also it was tragic, a bizarre coincidence that I was diagnosed with cancer in my right leg. But I appreciated David was with me every single day on Skype. Back in the day, we were using Skype. He was on every day. He would tell me, Atif, 2 legs are overrated. You don't even need 2 legs, to be honest. I'm living my life for the last 5 years without a leg. So all you need is 1 leg. He was hopping around, showing me, and he took care of my worries about my future by telling me his story. And that was really the birth of my movement, which I call Inspire One, Impact Billions. Through inspiring one person, we can change the entire world. I truly believe in that, and I've experienced that myself. So through his kindness, his personal experiences, I found the courage in those difficult moments. And I mean, even looking at my 11 months old son, I was worried how I can be a dad for him because I have a disability now, right? And then I told this young kid, Faris, do you think our meeting today is just a coincidence? I looked him in the eye. I told him, we were supposed to meet. I'm in Riyadh for you. It's not a coincidence. I didn't even know 2 months ago that I would be in Riyadh, visiting Riyadh. And that I could see his eyes light up. He found hope and positivity in that moment just by sharing my story. And this is so essential for all of us to be good storytellers and really share our stories in a manner that can light people up around us, whether at workplaces, our friends, colleagues, and at home, to be able to inspire and uplift each other. I told him you may not understand. I told little Faris, that you may not understand what I'm talking to you about, but maybe once you grow older a little bit, you will remember this meeting and find the courage you need to tell your story. And that's what I shared. It's just a very, very fresh story. I thought, I got to share this with you guys because what did I do in that scenario? I left hope with him. And this is what I want to do for you today. No matter what you're suffering from. I just listed a few issues that at workplace we're facing, and in general in the world is just chaotic right now, so noisy. Always have hope. Find hope. Because when we find hope, we find positivity and solutions. We find solutions to our problems. Because oftentimes when people who are more negativity conscious, they set themselves up for failure. Because when you perceive everything, just like I talked about, your perception, right? When you are negative, you perceive everything against you, right? The world collapsing, the economy, the workplace, your boss or your colleagues, whoever is bothering you, or your family, your relationships, you only see negativity. You don't really actually train your brain for positivity. So it takes a daily exercise. So just like going to gym, we train our brain every day, right? Do you hang out with positive people? Do you listen to good positive podcasts or read positive books? And do you have more meaningful conversations at workplaces, within your friends? Do you ask your friends, why are we here? What is the purpose What are we serving? What are we doing? How do we want to be remembered when we are not around? You know, people get cancers, people die in accidents. Anything can happen to anyone, really. But it's not about being scared of the end. It's that what legacy you leave behind, we leave behind. And that was a question that bothered me the most back in 10 years ago in 2015. This is a picture of me 30 minutes before my amputation. The biggest question in my mind was this, that I lived 3 decades of my life with no clear sense of purpose or clear goal in life. And looking at my 11 months old son, who was just about to turn 12 months in 1 year, what legacy do I leave behind for him? And that was the biggest question in that moment. In that moment, I promised myself that if I get to live, I'll find my purpose and pursue it with unwavering passion if I get a chance at life again. But not only that, I'll bring all of you along this journey with me. And that's why I'm here today is not a coincidence. It's because of an intentional journey. And the people at ACFO around Ontario supported me to do what I'm doing, to inspire and uplift all of us around us, right? And I remember a few years ago, I was chatting with one of my best friends, Saad, in Toronto, and I told him, I would love to share my story with the world, to inspire and uplift and help build a more resilient world. He said, Atif, why don't you just write on a piece of paper and just send a picture of me? I'll hold you accountable. That was my first experience to actually write what I want to do. And it made it more concrete. And the fact that he trusted me and he wanted to hold me accountable was an experience where I was like, whoa, he trusts me and he cares for me. And the question I want to ask you right now on Slido is, how many of you, let me see, the question is here. I'm going to find it. And next question would be, first I want to ask you, what's the biggest challenge that you're facing to maintaining a positive mindset? An option will be self-doubt, stress or pressure, past failures, and negative comment. Okay, we'll give a few seconds for people just to give the responses. Awesome, thank you. Stress or pressure, negative comment, environment, self-doubt, past failures. And maybe a couple more seconds. People just enter. We have close to 100 people. Awesome. It's amazing. Thanks for everyone to be here and making a difference in your lives and in lives of everyone around you. Because when we take care of ourselves, we're actually not taking care of ourselves only. We're actually impacting so many lives through that. I remember this story. My son was telling me, when I dropped the glass of water, half glass of water on the floor, and why mommy thinks that it's an ocean. Because when she got mad at me, and I told her, maybe it's not what she's mad at the glass. It's maybe she was stressed out at work or something. And it happens a lot of times with us when we are really burdened by negativity, pressure, negative environment, and we fail to take care of ourselves, and it just spills on someone else, right? So I told my son, don't worry, maybe she was not mad at you. It's just that maybe she was under a lot of stress. It was not a lot of water, but it's just that People who are under a lot of stress, they think it's an ocean that someone dropped on the floor. But yeah, thank you very much for all the responses. I see that stress and pressure is the big one, but also we can have past regrets, right? And we live in environments where we can't control sometimes. So now we have people, things, circumstances. That means we need to do a lot more intentional work to build ourselves up to tackle that negative environment. And how do we become more confident? And I think through being able to be ourselves and being more positive, we build all those skills. So I'm going to move to next part of my presentation. You can remove that from screen. All right, let me share again. Okay, so now that you see my slides, are just same slides. So I remember this, and thanks for sharing all your thoughts. What's really bothering you? What is it that's stopping you from being more positive and more happier? I remember this quote from Jim Rohn, famous speaker and author, motivational speaker, that we're not getting out of here alive. So what's the end game here? And that's what I remembered when I was in this hospital bed, right? And we all want to be somewhere eventually in lives. But if you don't have clearly written goals, concrete goal in life, that causes a lot of stress on its own because we don't have clarity in our life, right? And I found my clarity in that moment. To be honest, we don't have to lose a leg to find clarity, but there are ways to find clarity, right? So, and the first thing is to be able to express yourself, what you really want, what the end game for you, right? So, and my friend Saad allowed me to write my goals in that moment. Maybe they were not the perfect ones. They were really raw. That was raw writing, and I'm just expressing my thoughts. Writing is considered a psychoneuromotor activity because your whole being is involved in the process. So it's very important. So I want to ask you another question about how many of you have clearly written goals that you know this is your goals are, right? Or have you have them clearly written goals in your life? It's just the answer is yes and no on a piece of paper. According to, I was looking at a stats that more than 95% of us actually don't have clearly written goals. Like we don't even actually know what is it. If someone asks us, we don't really know confidently what we're trying to get out of life, right? And what Jim Rohn said is we're not getting out of our lives. So what do we want to leave behind? Especially as public servants, really is important for us to really find when we are working in a public service, what legacy we leave behind for Canadians, for ourselves, for the public service, right? It's an important question to think about. And then we're honored that we are working for public service, that we have an easy way to figure out, we can easily connect our life's purpose. I remember this story from this book I was reading. President Kennedy was doing a first visit to this space facility, and he asked his janitor, "What are you doing?" And he said, "I'm helping my country put the man on the moon." So even though he was cleaning, but this vision, he was able to connect his vision to his organizational vision. That he was cleaning, but his job was to make sure everything is ready to go for astronauts, for people around him. So we need to be able to find our purpose and goals and be able to write. And it should be our life goals. I don't differentiate between personal and professional because we only get one life. So we should have life goals and everything should align with those goals. So every time I wake up, every day I wake up, I look at my goals. I actually think about my goals, how my work aligns with my mindset and goals. Doesn't matter what your job is. It's about being able to be mindful every day you wake up. So having clear written goals is very important. First time you write it, it might look funny. It might look useless. But I promise you, after 7th day, you will have more clarity. So write it every single day, what you want out of life, right? What do you want yourselves to be when how do you want to live your life? How you want your legacy to be like? And you find clarity through continuous exploration. Nobody else will tell you which legacy is going to be. It's going to be you to determine. So I'm going to move to next part of my presentation. And this is my favorite part, where I talk about neuroscience of positivity and happiness. So I shared with you my story, and I really want to share with you that we all have what it takes to be more positive, to be more successful, and to be more happy in life. And I share this diagram because neuroscience is a complex field. And for us to be more positive, we need to have a bit more education on neuroscience. So this is what I want you to learn. And I have a book that I read. It's an amazing book. It's called Taming Your Amygdala. I'll explain it to you in a second. So first part of the brain is a front part of the brain, which is the front part. I use this dummy. So the front part is the prefrontal cortex. I'll take it off here. The front part is prefrontal cortex, which is right here, which is the most advanced in our species. So no other species have prefrontal cortex fully developed. So we have the fully developed portion of prefrontal cortex. It allows us to be able to plan long term, to be able to control our emotions, to be able to make big decisions, complex calculations, and this is really what I call it a CEO of the brain, or I could call it a simulator of the brain. You can create your reality right now sitting here. And oftentimes you sweat sometimes thinking about this next presentation or next interview. This is the movie you're playing in your mind. Maybe it will be the best interview ever, but it's just that you're stressing out. It's your prefrontal cortex is playing a movie that is based on negativity, right? You might just say something wrong, but you can also push your prefrontal cortex to build positive movies of the future, of the outcomes. So it's really, in a nutshell, it takes practice to reactivate and make it hyperactive, the prefrontal cortex. And we'll do a quick exercise together shortly. Amygdala is the part of the brain that's deep in our brain. It's shaped of an almond. It's like an alarm center of the brain. So whenever you're facing immediate danger, whether it's physical or emotional, it becomes hyperactive. And people who have gone through trauma in their past, amygdala is hyperactive in their brain. What happens is whenever they're dealing with a little bit of stressful situation in their life, they get into this survival mode. For them, everything is against them, dangerous. And it's not a good space to be, good mental state to be. And I read this somewhere that we are the generation of frightened people. It's the amygdala that allowed us to stay alive for thousands of years as species. Because amygdala allows us to protect ourselves from danger. Someone's running after us with a knife or a bear running after us. Amygdala allows us to conserve all our energy and put into our muscles and run faster, fight, and also our sensation of pain even goes away when we are fighting an immediate danger. That's what it does. It's a magical thing. But in times like this, when we are living in our homes safe, nobody's attacking us, we find that oftentimes people are still living like they were living thousands of years ago. And that's the worst place to be in, because that means you're not allowing your brain to grow. And you hear oftentimes the harassment, discrimination, all those things. That's what amygdala does. People who commit these acts of discrimination, they did not grow actually into the modern human beings, because they keep in that they keep their brain into this survival mode. So anything that's different, like somebody is disabled, or somebody's different color, or is walking differently, or different gender, they might see it as a threat, and they will use discrimination as the protection mechanism. So this is the science behind amygdala. So, but we don't need that as much right now. So when you're going in, into a meeting with your boss, you might feel like your breath is heavy and you're just sweating. That could happen, but you're not gonna die from a conversation. So we need to practice calming our amygdala. So I would recommend this book, Taming Your Amygdala. It's on Audible. You will do a good service to yourself if you listen to it. It's an amazing book, science, but also practical techniques. Hippocampus is third part, which is allows us to be able to store memories, good or bad. So all the trauma you have experienced, it allows us to be able to save it. So in order for us to save good memories, we can create good memories. We'll do it right now. We'll do a quick exercise right now together. It's going to be, I call it an imagine that exercise. And so these three parts of brain are really crucial whenever you think, you chat with someone. When you are in a car, someone cuts you off. You know, if you're showing the middle finger, that's one response. But stepping back and think, does it really even warrant that response, or cursing at someone? So that's what we face. We become more amygdala conscious. We're using amygdala to respond. So whenever you're talking to someone, you're in a difficult situation, just pay attention. Because when our amygdala becomes hyperactive, our prefrontal cortex shuts down. So if someone is yelling at you, you cannot reason with them because they're in a survival mode. Or someone is just very, very stressed about something, it's hard to reason with them. So first step is to calm them down. And don't say the calm down word. That doesn't work like Daniel said first. I mean, we're chatting before the meeting. So don't tell them calm down, but recognize their emotions first. Make them feel heard why they're upset about. And when they're a bit more in a position to listen to you, understand you, then you can actually try to use their prefrontal cortex. So oftentimes reasoning doesn't help. It's someone who is really emotional in the moment. That was my message for this slide, and there could be more details I can go into, but I want to move into our favorite activity. This is my favorite activity, which is an exercise I will do quickly. Before I do that, I want to quickly share what neuroplasticity is. So continuing from a prior slide, it's our brain's ability to be able to change our brain structure. You see, about 50 plus years ago, scientists thought that our brain is set in stone. It's gross, that's how it is, and it will never change. But now new science talks about neuroplasticity. With every thought, whether positive or negative, our brain actually physically restructures and changes. So either you can actually take everything as a stress and anxiety and panic right away, or you can actually give yourself perspective. Hang out with good people, read positive books, and try to push yourself to look at the positive outcome of every situation, how you learn from them. This is the daily exercise we all have to do every single day, just like going to the gym. And this quick research study I wanted to share with you is it was done back in 1995. That scientists trained a group of people to play five-finger piano, and they were divided into two groups. And they were asked, one group was A was asked to be able to practice on actual piano. Group B was asked to practice on like close your eyes or play piano. Imagine playing piano without a physical piano. At the end of the day, when they actually, after a week, they actually did the fMRI scan on their brain. They found out that actually the part of the brain, the motor section cortex of the brain, it grew in both groups. So this is clear enough proof for us that our brain actually changes with every word we speak, thought. So let's do a quick exercise together, and then we'll do a Q&A shortly. Okay, so I'm going to play this. First, I'm going to play a sound first. Can you guys hear the sound? Daniela, can you tell me? Sounds audible? Okay, good. So I will ask every one of you. I see 93 people. Just everyone, close your eyes and just take a deep breath. Okay. And just follow my voice. Let's clear our minds and prepare to unlock the power of our imagination. Now, picture yourself standing at the start of a path. This path represents your journey towards a goal or dream you've always wanted but felt held back from achieving. Visualize this path leading to a bright, inviting light. A symbol of your achievement. As you walk down this path, imagine the feeling of success, the sounds of celebration around you, and the scent of your favorite place that makes you feel accomplished. See yourself reaching the end of the path, stepping into that light, fully embodying your dream. Feel the journey and excitement of having achieved your dream. Hold on to that feeling. Let it fill you up. You are there. You've made it. I want you to take a deep breath. Let this feeling sink in, and when you're ready, open your eyes, carrying this sense of accomplishment with you. Awesome. Thank you very much. And I just want to tell you that just like going to gym, you don't actually achieve results on the day one. So this exercise, whatever you want to achieve in your life, it's important to train our brain, especially prefrontal cortex, to allow it to think positive and have more meaningful whatever speaks to you. I just this general exercise with you right now because I don't know each of you, right? So I did this to kind of allow you to kind of feel how it feels like to imagine what you want to be or what you want to do. So I want you to just quickly give me only 20 seconds just to answer this question. How do you feel after this exercise? I know some people might it funny, but just tell me honestly how you felt. And yeah, so just maybe put up a Slido here. And it does take time. We have to do practice every single day. And because of shortage time, I did a very quick version, but thank you. Happy, hopeful, courageous, calm. Happy, hopeful, courageous. Amazing, inspired. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your what you felt. Amazing. Thank you. Thank you. Keep let them come in, and we'll move to the next part of the presentation, so we can take some questions from you guys too, right? So let me just quickly finish the last part. I wanted to show you quickly this video, and what I just wanted to quickly share with you. What can you really else do to really train yourself, your amygdala, your prefrontal cortex? How can you feel more in control? I want you to create a control circle, like grabbing a piece of paper and writing about what is it that is bothering you. And on the next part, like make a T code, like for an accounting, let's just T account. On the left side, write down what's bothering you. On the right side, what can you do about it? Put yourself in the mindset. What is it that you can do? Smallest thing you can do today. That's what I call a control circle. What is your circle of influence? And think of inspiring one person a day. That's one good activity. Builds meaningful connections, especially at work. And one thing I want to tell you is pick a skill that you want to learn, new skill, something other than your work. And that really helped me personally to be able to stay positive, hopeful, and in control. So you create a circle, control circle, learn a new skill, and really build meaningful connections. And I'll quickly share with you when I talk about these connections. I want to share with you my movement, inspirational movement. And that was a moment. There's no sound to this video. I want to play this for you. This is 10 years ago when I was taking my very first steps. after my amputation. I was in excruciating pain. And if you were to come in that room and ask me, Atif, what are you thinking? And I was thinking, I'm going through this pain, but it has to be not for nothing. It has to be for some reason. And that was really the birth of my global movement, which I call Inspire One Impact Billions, a movement to fight emotional poverty as we feel a sense of disconnection. And we feel like even among thousands of people where we go, in the malls, everywhere, we feel disconnected. We don't feel as connected authentically. And I want to urge you to be part of this movement. And every single day, look for this one person. What kind thinking say to them, inspire them. Be someone's accountability partner. Share your beautiful story with them. Just tell someone thank you for your service authentically. Be more mindful in the moment. And just be a good listening ear. And I want to ask you this one last question. And then we can also start taking questions, Danielle. So I think already running over time. But this last question I want to ask you, if you were to inspire just one person today, what would you say to them? Awesome. Thank you. Maybe Andrew, you can save the results like you showed me after. We can start taking the questions so that respecting the time. That's good. Awesome. Thank you.
That's awesome. Thank you, Atif. That was a wonderful presentation. I have a lot of takeaways. I loved your message about hope, finding purpose. Key takeaways for me, the circle of influence, and I'll definitely be picking up a copy of that book, Taming Your Amygdala, because I think it's something that we can all benefit from learning about a little bit more. Okay, so let's run into the questions. So the first question here, David met you by coincidence. So have you met anyone with the same condition?
I have met many, but even the story I shared with you, this young kid who I met in Riyadh, completely different continent, completely different city, right? By coincidence, right? But yeah, I've met many, and actually, it's funny, I met a few months ago someone from from Dalhousie University. I went to Dalhousie University in Halifax. I met someone actually recently who lives in Toronto, and he also lost his leg to cancer from the same department. But he actually was in a different batch. But he found me because he found a story a bit bizarre, right? How can you just, and he called me and we had a chat. Yeah, so that's that. I hope that's a question, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I got from the question as well. Thanks for that. Okay, next question. Does your positivity ever get you in quote unquote trouble? I find that sometimes people are annoyed by those who are overly positive. Maybe those individuals are the ones that need positivity the most.
You know, I've been called gaslight. People tell me, "Oh, I gaslight them sometimes," and that's not the intention. But then this is why I want to learn more about toxic positivity. You know, because I don't want people to think that I'm not recognizing their emotions. So what is it very important to, when you try to help someone be more positive, recognize their emotions. They're valid emotions, right? I was just giving an example before. So being positive doesn't mean you completely ignore what's in front of you, the problem or issue, or ignoring someone's emotions. So fully recognize if someone is talking about a problem, let them talk, accept their emotion. And then you can actually, once you're past that step, then you can actually talk to them about how they can look at the positive aspect of it, right? So it does get me in trouble, yes, because I think the times and in times we live right now, we face a lot of negativity every single day. I wake up every morning, I find out, oh, there's a bomb in that place now, and there are people died, and it's there's job cuts, there's economy is bad. There's so much negativity. What we need is the mindset of cultivating active positivity every single day. Because if you're not fighting that battle, you're gonna lose, because there's so much out there that will easily take you over, right? All the negativity. So we need to be mindful every single day. The circle we have, the people around us, the books we pick up, right? Are we reading books about science of positivity, right? Or are we trying to inspire one person a day? There's a research study done that if you inspire one person, they have an instant shot or a release of serotonin in their brain. It's called a happy chemical. And not only that, you will also have a shot of serotonin in your brain. You will be happy. But the fun part is, if someone is looking at you, being kind to someone, they will also have instant dose in your brain of serotonin. So when you inspire one person, you're not just making someone happy, you're making yourself happy. You're making potentially other people happy too. It's a ripple effect. So next question. Sorry, it got a little long.
Awesome. Thanks, Atif. That actually reminds me of the high five challenge. Have you heard of the high five challenge?
I think I heard, yeah.
Yeah, so this is something, and it leads into the next question as well. So essentially, serotonin levels go up through research every time we do this sort of high five movement. And that's something that I've sort of done with my kids, is in the morning we high five ourselves in the mirror,
Yeah,
and that
awesome.
boosts that serotonin. So
That's
that leads into
awesome.
the next question. Yeah, you said that you have kids. So how do you recommend talking to them about the importance of being positive?
Biggest struggle is kids' brain is still growing. Sometimes you cannot reason with them. This is why we as parents are responsible for them to not do some dumb stuff, right? And so, even the story of the kid I inspired in Riyadh, he's 11-year-old. So maybe a lot of stuff he didn't understand fully at the time, but there will be time he will understand. So our job is to create an environment for the kids. So, there's a book I have is called the Positive Dog book. I brought it to my son. You know what I mean? Creating an environment for him. I love the book, and I read it whenever I'm feeling emotionally down. I just put it on Audible. It's only 45, well, half an hour listen on a fast speed. So giving kids books on positivity. I got my son to read this Helen Keller essay. So giving them this positivity. You can't just talk to someone and tell them to be positive. You have to environment of positivity, right? They will see their dads learning about positivity. They'll see their dads reading positive books. That's what they will learn when they will be teenagers. They will remember when they're battling their own emotions. So this is what I do, and have discussions with your kids about what does it positive mean to them, right? And that way, just giving them advice to be positive versus involving them in the process of positivity is better recommendation.
Great. I love that. Creating that positive environment. That's
Yeah.
wonderful. So how do you remain positive around people who are constantly negative? Those negative Nellies in the world.
And definitely it's hard. It's hard. It's a I'm not going to call it a disease, but it's a vicious cycle people fall into of negativity, right? And what I do is I try to show them that how, and you can also do the same thing. Show them that how you take accountability for your emotions. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter what the world does to you. How you respond to the world is your control. I love Viktor Frankl, who survived Holocaust, 3 different camps. He said, it's not the circumstances that make life unbearable. It's the lack of meaning and purpose and the response that we provide to the world, right? So it's the response is so. I think the best education is to how you show up in front of them. It's the best way. When I work with people, and oh yeah, he's all about someone said to me once, we're working in the office, he's all about positivity. Why? Because I didn't really give them a lecture on positive, but they saw me. I'm being positive, talking about positivity. So if someone is in a negative vicious cycle, it's about how do you break them? You allow them, just like creating an environment around them of positive, right? But again, it's important is to also acknowledge their emotions as well, because they're just in the survival mode, because for everything from them is an attack.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I think we have time for one question, another question, maybe 2. What advice do you have for someone who is struggling to find their purpose? Good question.
Of course, definitely don't have to lose the leg. That's first. And the first thing I would say is writing. I know we have really ignored writing these days because we have text, phone, computers. Find a piece of paper and write. Attempt writing. What is it that you want to do in life, right? And what I did is I recommended some analysis to find people that inspire you, whether it's Helen Keller, Terry Fox, Mother Teresa, and even in the business world, Jeff Bezos. I mean, not sure people have different views about these people, but still find the type. Not one person is not fully bad or good, right? You look at them, learn the good things from people, right? Um, and that's how you can explore. So I have a sheet I can send whoever wants it. I can create a sheet to kind of work on attempt, because I can't tell you what your purpose is if you don't know yourself. So I can give you tools to give you a head start to see what you need to do. So finding people who inspire you and what you're good at, and really being able to write. First time you write something, it might just might look awkward, funny, and that's exactly the point. It also, for some people, I told one person one day just write it. He got really mad at me. He said he already knows his purpose. First thing is recognizing that you're lacking something, right? If you don't recognize it, then nobody can help you, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's wonderful. And I think on time here, we've got a couple more minutes. So I don't know if you can answer this last
Sure,
one
I'll
in
do it quickly. Yeah.
a minute or so. Do you find that people you are surrounded by impact your outlook on life? If so, how do you create boundaries around yourself so your own positivity is not dulled by the negativity around you?
Definitely, that I'm a strong, believer in that. That you become the average of people you hang around with, right? Um, you know, I want to inspire people. I meet a lot of people who are stuck in negativity, and that's kind of the what I want to do. But at the same time, um, sometimes it's hard to avoid people who are negative, right? And building strong boundaries, right? If someone is always negative, and it's your right to not be part of that conversation, and you can actually, I'd always use three method, where if someone is talking about this something negative over and over again, and third time they have to come up with a solution, something, some little thing that can do about it, right? That gives them this kind of like a mindset, like you have had it enough, right? So even I do personally, when I'm talking about something, third time I have to come up with a solution. So help them kind of come up with a solution. If you're talking about it, I mean, as a friend, it's good to listen to someone they're complaining about their day, but third time you have to ask them, so what have you done? What have you, what steps have you taken on a third time? Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. The three complaint rule. I like that. I like that.
Exactly.
All right, Atif, I think that's it for our time for today.
I've
I
done
really
stand-up
wanna-
comedy at Yuck Yucks. There's a question. But I want to show one
Yeah.
thing. I want the audience
Sure.
to just scan it quickly, and they can answer later. So what I do at the end of the talk, so that I can keep going, do what I do, even stronger and faster and more, I want you to just quickly scan this QR code and tell me one thing that you learned from this interaction, and how you will impact implement it in your workplace, your life, wherever you want to make a change. One thing you learn, and how you will impact. Because at the end of the day, it's not about being in this presentation, being inspired. One thing, but if that cannot make you do something different tomorrow, then it's just a waste of time for everybody, right?
Yeah.
Just you can if ever
Absolutely.
they give people 20 seconds and scan it.
Yeah, so we'll leave that up on the screen there while we
Awesome.
do our closing remarks, and people
Awesome.
can go ahead and scan. I do encourage you to do that. I think that's a wonderful, because like you said, Atif, it's one thing to sit here for an hour and have that intention, but you have to follow through in order to see those changes take place. So I love that. So I just want to say another big thank you for you, for your energy and your presence here today, and all the wisdom you shared with us through your experiences. And in honor of the time and energy that you spent with us today, ACFO will be making a donation to the charity of your choice, which is Newfoundland Eats Community Outreach, which is, in my understanding, a food bank that's a lifeline for families in Newfoundland and Labrador. I think that's wonderful. Thank you for that.
Amazing.
And, thanks to everyone else who participated in today's session. Your questions were wonderful, and your answers to Atif's questions and your involvement really helped the session today. It's always a pleasure to host these sessions for the membership. Stay tuned for our next EDIAR session, which will be set to take place sometime in September. You'll be receiving more information about that by email later this summer. And on that, I wish you all a good day. And again, Atif, thank you for being here with us today. Have a great summer, everyone.